Territorial behaviour are the methods by which an animal or group of animals establishes a territory or area and then subsequently defends it from intrusions both intraspecial and interspecial.
A hierarchy is when a group of animals has a specific rank for each individual. Usually a hierarchy is linear, with the highest ranks, the alpha, being the strongest and the largest, and the lowest, the omega, being the weakest and the most reliant. In some hierarchies there are betas, which support the alpha.
The hippopotamus amphibus, or hippo, is found living in the wetlands and rivers of Africa. They generally weigh around 1,500 kilos and can grow up to 5 meters long. They are one of the most feared animals in Africa due to their tendency to attack humans completely unprovoked. This is due to their highly aggressive nature. A typical pod of hippos is made up of around 20 to 100 individuals, who are looked over by an alpha bull. This bull establishes a territory of around 250 metres along the river by spinning his tail while defecating and urinating to spread his scent and set the parameters. The alpha male holds the breeding rights to all females inside his area. For him, this is the main benefit of establishing territory, as it guarantees his genes will be passed on. The female hippo will move from one territory to another if conditions in the original territory deteriorate. This is because they will look to find an area that will provide the best environment to raise their offspring in. Because of this, during drought season, where the availability of deep water dramatically decreases, fights between males increase. Lone males will challenge an alpha bull of a territory so that the lone male can once again gain breeding rights. These fights are fierce and can last for hours. However, most do not result in death, as the weaker male will submit when it is clear he is going to be defeated. The benefits of territorial behaviour are that it reduces intraspecific competition. This is because each pod of hippos will have its own allocated space to eat, breed and wallow. Without an established territory, these daily activities would result in constant fighting over resources, and come breeding seasons, males will fight even more heavily, which will distract from the necessary task at hand. Hippos only eat for around 4 to 5 hours a day, which is relatively small for an animal that size, given that cows eat for around 8. The reason for this is that the hippos live a very sedate life. Without a territory, they would have to have increased energy expenditure due to constant fighting, and would therefore have to eat more. This would make them more vulnerable to predation. The territories of hippos are sometimes impeded on by crocodiles, among others. However, this does not always result in fighting, as the crocodile will generally stay away from predating on hippos. But if it does attack a baby hippo, the alpha male will drive it from its territory and reconfirm his dominance. The establishment of a territory has many benefits. For the alpha bull, it guarantees breeding. For the females, it creates a secure environment in which to bring up their young. And overall, it is more energy beneficial, as it decreases intraspecial fighting as each pod has an established set of resources. Territorial behaviour is an adapted advantage which has allowed hippos to become well established in Africa and become a dominant species.
Meerkats are a type of mongoose that live in South Africa. They live in deserts and usually survive for about 12 years. They live in communities, which are called mobs or gangs, and depend on each other for survival. Hierarchies are established in each mob. A meerkat hierarchy is quite different from primates in that the ranking is not necessarily through heritage. Also, it is a matriarchal hierarchy, meaning that the alpha female is in control of the group. She will lead the group in things like foraging or searching for new burrows. She will also pick which male to mate with, effectively picking who will be the alpha male. Males still have a dominance hierarchy, it is just that the alpha female will control the whole group. From a year old, meerkats will start to assert superiority over smaller meerkats by chin swiping and hip slamming. Dominant females will evict older subordinate females before they grow big enough to overthrow them. Males can do the same, but usually subordinate males will leave the group without a fuss. Being in a hierarchy gives a few benefits for the meerkats. One is the passing on of good genes. Because it is a matriarchal hierarchy, the alpha female will only mate with male meerkats with good genes and characteristics, as they will be the male of her choosing. Therefore, she has a high chance of giving birth to strong offspring. Another benefit is that the roles are spread and ensure that the group survives. For instance, sentinel duty is usually given to older subordinate males who do not argue about the duty as they understand their ranking in the hierarchy. The spreading of roles also allows there to be a greater chance of successful foraging for food and water, as there will be a large amount of meerkats dedicated to the task. A dominance hierarchy reduces interspecific competition because the meerkats have to work together to survive. The desert is harsh, and without cooperation, the meerkats will not survive on their own. Without sentries, then the foragers or nurses could be ambushed with no warning, and without nurses, then the babies won't survive. With every meerkat knowing their place, they can all work together rather than competing, and so there will be less aggression. A meerkat that tries to survive on its own will be quickly killed by a passing mob or die to the harsh conditions. Also, it will not be able to reproduce. The cooperation is more energy efficient than if there was no hierarchy. This is because each meerkat has a duty which rotates so that they focus on one thing. This makes each job get done faster, leaving time to do other things like upgrade a burrow or just relax. The meerkats would not survive without a hierarchy. This is because each meerkat would spend longer foraging as they would be frequently checking for predators. They may not get enough food or water because of this. Overall, a hierarchy is essential for meerkats to survive.